Hello, welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and this episode centers on Boruto Chapter 70, titled From the Bottom of My Heart, which sounds like a lovely romantic poem I would say to my wife or something. But this isn't a poem for my wife. It's the new chapter of Boruto, and I happen to be a writer for ScreenRant.com. I Jason Hahn, like to write a lot of video game news and stuff like that. But I happen to get some buddies who write on the comics side of that website and write all kinds of interesting theories and introspective articles about DC, Marvel, manga, all kinds of stuff. So I got a couple buddies to talk about the new Boruto with me today. Todd, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, like you said, Jason, you pretty much covered what makes Todd in a nutshell. So yeah, I'll say specifically for like the things I write about at Screen Rant, I've covered a lot about Naruto, specifically the mythology in Naruto. But aside from that, just anything Naruto, Boruto, other manga, and then a bunch of Marvel comic stuff. I write all about it.
Oh yeah,
Check
man.
out my articles.
Yeah. Well, Todd, what's your last name for people to look up?
Oh, Petrella. My last name's Petrella.
All right. Well, there you go. Look up Todd Petrella on Screen Rant. You've been how long you been doing it now? You got a good amount of articles out there.
Yeah, I think I started in January, so 5 months now.
All right, all right. Well, definitely check out Todd's work. I've enjoyed and disagreed with and agreed with many of his Naruto articles, so definitely some fun stuff to read there. Steven, how about you, bud?
Hey, yeah, my name's Steven. Been writing for the comic side for a little over a year now. Mostly write about all things manga, mostly Shonen Jump. But yeah, outside of Shonen Jump, doing a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog, lore, IDW, and Archie comics, as well as Beast Wars goodness. But I'm ready to talk about some Boruto.
Yeah, the last chapter we left on, chapter 69, nice, had quite the cliffhanger with, I don't know, one of my favorite characters from the Naruto series is Shikamaru, and I was very happy to see him get through this chapter and not have him be horribly nerfed, like in his intelligence and whatnot. Boruto, I get it; they've had to do it, for the sake of story pacing and stuff. But they've done Naruto and Sasuke pretty dirty throughout this series consistently. As somebody who read Naruto week to week, you just know how ridiculously powerful and intelligent they are by the end of the series, only to have them kind of, get pushed to the side almost in several moments throughout this series. But Shikamaru kept things under control. He came up with a plan. He threw quite a few wrenches into Code's plans here without really having to, fight much or anything. I really enjoyed the strategic approach here. And that's really what most of this chapter was diffusing the situation that could have exploded and destroyed the entire city of Konoha if things had gone poorly. But Shikimaru kind of, it's almost ironic. Eida is able to, read people and see pretty much everything that is going on around her and control people. Yet Shikimaru successfully read her like a book and knew exactly to exploit the Kawaki factor. And he knew exactly what he needed to do to get her to consider turning and, putting more pressure on Code. So it was a lot of the psychological warfare in this chapter that I feel like the series has been significantly missing. That there's been a good amount of like punch fighting and, techniques and, some cool fights, but it's those especially Shikimaru moments in the Naruto series that I've been missing, and I felt like this was a very heavy Shikimaru chapter, so I was pretty happy with it. But how about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, just to go off what you were saying about Shikamaru is, I never really connected with him that much, going through Naruto when I was a kid, but there was a moment that I bet you appreciated, Jason, just because you seem to have connected with him a lot during the days of Naruto. But it was also kind of funny. when they're mentioning Kawaki, how he's coming. He's like, "Oh, I bet he's in the vents right now or doing something like that." And then it goes immediately to Kawaki doing exactly what Shikamaru was saying that he was going to be doing.
Yeah,
I bet he probably appreciated that. It's like,
I
that's
did.
probably what he's doing, and that's what he was doing.
Yeah, literally next panel we show Kawaki dancing through air vents. I liked it.
Funny, I didn't even like realize that. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah,
That's
he's
exactly what happened.
Yeah,
yeah.
Shikamaru is just really smart.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, I really enjoyed the tension here of
Mhm.
Ida deciding whether she wanted to, she's entertaining the thought of joining Konoha. And
Yeah.
in our previous discussions, we kind of, especially Steven, I remember yours like, man, it'd be so interesting just to get a whole series to see how the citizens of Konoha would have to react to Ida and relationships would be tested. And we're definitely not getting that, obviously, but it seems like such an obvious thing to happen. They could just portal Armando out of there, and then they get what they want, and that's exactly what happened. If of all the crazy ideas we came up with last week, that was the most easy, the one that they ended up going with.
Yeah, and I'll just say this really quick, and then we can go over to Todd. Yeah, another one of my theories that was shot down, or maybe at least it hasn't played out yet, but something that I grasped on from the last chapter with Sumere, I should say.
Yeah, yeah.
Where she, overheard the whole thing that Kawaki killed Boruto, and because she is has definitely a thing for him. I thought that her hearing that could end up hurting Naruto, just because he was hiding that fact, and because Naruto's relationship with Kawaki was already really on rocky ground, and
Mm-hmm.
if the villagers had heard about that, it could have like really turned against them. But it looked like Sumire, her, she's having a conversation with Kawaki, and it seemed like she's not going to be spreading that. It looks like she's fine with it, which is kind of disappointing on my end because I kind of wanted to explore that whole dynamic of his dream of being Hokage, or even though he is one, like just seeing it crumble around him
Mm-hmm.
as the villagers turn against him. But it looks like that's not the case. But yeah, another one of my ideas shot down.
Yeah, we're
I
kind
feel like it could still happen.
of,
Yeah,
I still feel like that could happen.
don't give me hope.
I just think like even though she's cool with it, she could just let it slip to somebody else who wouldn't be cool with that, and then I mean, yeah, like you said, I don't want to give you hope, but it's still possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. As compelling as it would be, drama wise, to have the whole village kind of turn against Naruto, it would kind of go against the whole idea of Hokage. I mean, Hokage is supposed to be the
Right.
most respected ninja in the whole village, and
Mhm.
I don't know I feel like if there's a group of people who don't want or who are unsatisfied with the Hokage, who don't respect him, then I don't know. We've seen that they used to be called the Uchiha, and
Who are those
um,
guys again?
yeah, I don't know. They're just a legend. They don't really exist. Just a bunch of jerks, really. If you look back at
It's
the
an Uchiha.
yeah, it's most not to go all second Hokage on this, but most of the Uchihas have caused a lot more damage than good. So,
And also too, I mean, it looks like Boruto. They're really trying to. I mean, you got to focus on him now. We're moving to the next generation,
yes,
unfortunately.
but it definitely
So
would be an interesting turn because I mean, up until now, they've had like a shadow Kage, kind of the evil Hokage that pulls the strings in the background to silence, groups of people and prevent war, Danzo, stuff like that. And this is
right,
kind
yeah,
of the first time in a long time, I think, that the village hasn't had something like that.
that is true. That's a good point. Yeah, I like
So,
that.
so again, we're going into like fan speculation on what the darkest drama turn of events could happen in this shonen series. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if we got there. But yeah, Todd, what were your thoughts on this chapter, man?
A lot of my thoughts. I kind of thought the whole uh conversation with Eida, I thought it was kind of fruitless, even though I know what ended up happening. just everything that we speculated about happening, none of that really happened.
No.
So I thought it was kind of fruitless in that aspect. But when we got to the end of the chapter where Code takes Amato back to the hideout, um, I was just saying, I don't, excuse me, like the part where when he finally gets his limiters removed and it reveals the white karma, my first thought was like, oh, is there another Otsutsuki? But then I remembered he was supposed to be the a failed vessel for Ishiki, and now I feel like Ishiki could come back because now Code has a karma.
Yeah, I saw that pitch.
Yeah,
That got accepted, right? Yeah, I think it did.
yeah. I think it's prepped right now, so
Nice.
stay tuned for that article, guys.
Well, yeah. By the time this comes out, that should be available, hopefully. But I don't know. I mean, as much as getting Ishiki or Ishin, are those the same characters?
Oh, yeah, same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, same guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'd almost rather it opened up to like the introducing a new, because I feel like we've talked about it before, but they had the whole like God Akatsuki panel, and that just entertains the idea that that has happened before, and that there could be some ultimate all powerful Akatsuki out there, and I think it'd be really interesting. Right now, I think it's interesting. My mind might change in 30 seconds about it, but if a very similar thing happened to Code that happened with like Madara, I hated when they did it with Madara, but him getting betrayed and that leading to the resurrection of Kaguya, I almost wonder, especially because I mean, so far Code's new powers and his limiters being taken off, it's all been very vague on exactly what that means right now. I'm sure next couple chapters we're going to have that demonstrated, because we need the big bad, especially after he has gained some sort of new powers. We need a demonstration, and I really don't think we're going to get. I don't think Amando is going to. Well, I don't. Well, yeah, kind of jumping ahead to what we think's going to happen next. I don't think Amando is going to, start the next chapter by being cut in half. But the only thing
that's one of your pitches. I think that's one of your pitches. I saw, Todd. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Todd.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah. Well, back to the Ishiki thing real quick. Like, I don't think like Ishiki's gonna come back and it's just gonna be like, oh hey, Ishiki's back. I think it's gonna be more something like Naruto and Boruto and Momoshiki, where like Momoshiki's still there, but he can't fully come back to control Boruto now. I think it's going to be something along the lines of that, if that does end up happening. But in regards to like the end of the chapter, no, I don't think Amato's going to die. I think like this is what I was talking about earlier before we started recording. I think like Amato said like some sort of self-destruct code.
That would be interesting. So rather than unlocking his power, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's cool. Yeah, because he didn't know what the words were, what the activation words were. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Like he hasn't said the whole thing yet. He's like, "That's only half of your power." But I do love the there is no dress code. I think that's, that made me smile and laugh the first time I read it. And I mean, I guess now is the time to bring it up, but I'm kind of really underwhelmed by Code's like new design. I love Code's design already, but this new one just doesn't look like his hair is just a little bit standing up, and that's about it.
Yeah, what do you mean? He's got spiky hair now. He's a threat.
Yeah, you're right. I just finished a Dragon Ball Super discussion. I should know these things.
But I mean, he has like. I mean, I've never really focused on the whole karma thing. But I mean, it's white. That's kind of cool. It can manifest in a different way, you know.
Well, yeah. Doesn't Kawaki have a?
Oh, does he? I've never really like. Whenever there's a karma thing, I just like gloss over it.
Yeah. It's not as interesting as Eyes, which Eida like showed us some new Is it a robotic ninja tool eye, or is it a new type of like uh, Senrinnegan? I think is what she called it. Yeah, Senrigan, which is the tool she was using, I guess, to like look into the past, or she's just like, I'm going into my mind palace right now to think about this, and then her Senrigan happens. I guess I'm not sure.
Yeah, and that actually kind of like goes back. I remember Todd, you were thinking about if she had like a different Sharingan type of thing, and it's kind of
Yeah.
it's kind of going to what you were saying. I mean, it's not a Sharingan, obviously, but it's an eye ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an ocular jutsu.
Yeah, which is pretty
But
cool.
whether or not it's hers or a scientific ninja tool, that I guess that still remains to be seen.
Yeah, because we still have a lot up in the air on exactly what Amando has done to both her and Damon.
Mhm.
And that could possibly be how he gets out of the situation we see at the end of the chapter. One of our theories that we've had in previous discussions is that Ada could be, or Eida, depending on your translation you're reading, could be Amando's daughter. He previously talked about having a daughter that I think he believes is dead or died, or something along those lines. Some She vaguely disappeared, I think, but it seemed to match up pretty well with the idea. I think it was Todd's theory that Ada could be at least like the remnants of his daughter, or possibly he lost a daughter and then remade her as a cyborg or something like that.
I would love that.
Yeah, and it's been said that Damon is her little brother, and he's got interesting abilities too. But I almost wonder if Ada and Damon are the ones that are gonna end up, saving Amando. So that's kind of two theories I have on how he could get out of it. Is what you guys were saying earlier, is possibly he hasn't revealed the whole code, or he hasn't said the whole phrase yet to unlock all of Code's abilities, or Ida and Damien might come in, and that would give us a great opportunity to see some of Code's new powers and abilities.
Yeah, I mean, not to switch from the subject of looking what's going to happen next. I mean, it just confirms where this is going is that Boruto keeps on pushing that monumental meetup between Aida and Kawaki. It
Mm-hmm.
just keeps on hyping it even more. And it's almost ironic. I mean, the reason why, I mean, even it was like Aida's like, dude, we got to go when she hears that Kawaki is coming, just
Yeah,
because he's the one who can, tear down or go through Code's transporty zipper thing.
yeah,
Um, which is so intense because that's like the number one thing she wants. She wants to meet him, and it's just it just hypes it. It's hyping it even more for me, and I think that's good writing here. I mean, I know that we all have some problems with how this has been written, Boruto, and especially in relation to Naruto. But I mean,
yeah,
this is good. I mean, it's hyping it, and because I mean, at least for me, I mean, I really want to see that interaction that she has with Kawaki, just because even though she is a stronger character, in relation to Sakura, I keep on calling her as the fix to Sakura's problem.
mm-hmm.
But I mean, how she reacts to him, especially if he pushes her away, like he's like, no, no, I'm not gonna be with you, type of thing. Based on how she reacts, can basically make or break her character for me, at least for an empowering perspective. So I'm really waiting for that one-on-one moment, and I think it could
Yeah.
really make or break her character. And I really want. I'm looking forward to
You're like, I
it.
want to keep liking you, Ida. Please help me keep liking you, and
Well,
don't
it's like,
ruin that moment.
I mean, also too. I mean, it's just going back. I know we were having this conversation offline. I think with Ben at some point, but just how Naruto was kind of throwing the girl characters under the bus type of thing, especially Dragon Ball Z as well. And
Mm-hmm.
this is why this is so exciting. Her character. I mean, it's a stronger character, and it's like I want her to really break the mold or break the curse of Sakura in Naruto. So I'm just excited for that to see where that goes.
Well, not to put a bucket of water over your intense flame of passion for Ida, but in this chapter, when she could tell that Kawaki was on the way, and she's just like, "Oh no, we need to get out of here." The way I read it was she's infatuated with Kawaki, and to the point where she's like nervous. Like she wasn't.
Oh, I that would
She
be so much better. I
yeah,
really wish that's the
I
case.
thought I thought it was like she's not ready to like
Oh,
to talk to him yet. So she's like, "We need to get out of here." And then they're like, "Yeah, we need to get out of here so he doesn't shrink our escape route." She's like, "Yeah, sure. That's why. Yeah,
wait, did she say it like that? Oh, let me
no,
go back.
no, I'm
Oh,
I'm adding my own panels in my head, but
I
uh,
really wish that because I wish they didn't have that his stupid ability to do that because her leaving makes it more, not as technical but more emotional, which would be I don't know. Even though it doesn't strengthen her, like it's just I like I've said before, I like the whole rom com aspect in mangas, and
yeah.
that just adds to it. I just love that whole dynamic. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, that's at least how I read it. I read it as an emotional reaction rather than a tactical one. But that was just my interpretation.
I mean, it could. I mean,
I'm with you on that. I thought she was just wanted to get out of there. She was
Yeah.
still too nervous.
Oh wow, yeah, because I didn't. Oh man, now I don't know. I'm gonna have to read more into that, like to see what they actually say. Well, just because I'm just so fascinated by her character. I mean, it could go either way.
Well,
But
as you said, I mean, she's kind of it's almost like somebody read and actually paid attention to general criticism about how they write female characters in previous Naruto things. And they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna write Ida then, and it could absolutely backfire and all explode if she meets Kawaki and well, I guess happiest ending. How would you want that to go down, Steven?
oh, I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how
I
it
mean,
how it could work out.
I'm, it's yeah. I mean, it can really go. And I just want them to do right by her. I mean, I don't whether she ends up being with Kawaki or not. She gets thrown down. I mean, it's just I'm not so concerned about how it will turn out story wise. I just want her to just just not be thrown aside if that makes sense. Like I'm
Yeah.
just yeah, and just bringing up not just for her character, but just the whole romance thing. Like I mean, it's it's really not in any other shonen that much, especially lately with like the bigger titles. It's been kind of thrown to the side, or they don't focus it on as much, or they just do a caricature of romance or love,
Yeah.
and it's just like anything involving that and is amazing. So I just want that to keep going as long as possible. And like I said, like my earlier thing, how it would be great if if her ability affects Naruto and how that could delve into Naruto's relation with Hinata. I mean, that would never happen again. Like you're saying it's something I want, but you guys are like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen here just because
Yeah,
I'm
as
moving away from it.
compelling and as interesting that would be, yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
very surprised if they started doing something like that
It's
in this series.
Yeah,
yeah, it's just like one of those
like
things where
I'm
it's
not
like,
against it. I just don't think that they would put any time towards that.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I
Right,
mean,
right.
that's why it's like, yeah, but, yeah. I mean, at least they have a really compelling character where I'm really invested and want more from her. That's all. I'm just happy that because I haven't really been getting that in Boruto. Like I haven't really attached to anyone or anything,
Hmm.
and this is that moment where it's like yes. So
Yeah.
I'm happy this is happening.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because I mean, even with Kawaki, like he seems to be a fan
Mm,
favorite, but
yeah.
it just for me as somebody who's grown up with the Naruto series for so long, it feels like when they first introduced him, I was just like, okay, they're trying too hard to make him like the Sasuke of this series. And so far, they're starting to finally give him the character arcs that I feel like he needed, where he's starting to get, conflicted on his role in protecting Naruto and everybody around him. And I don't know, he's almost getting to that point of Sasuke in before the Sasuke retrieval arc, where he's now getting to the point where he's like, okay, the way I can accomplish my goals is to get more power. And there's a little conversation he had with Sumire.
Sumiri.
And I'll just call her Sumi.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the conversation between Sumi and him, and it kind of, for the first time in the series, it got him to acknowledge he's just like, yeah, this is the first time that I needed that power, and I'm glad I had it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's gonna go in the very similar roads that Sasuke went through, where Kawaki is going to embrace this power that he needs and work with it to become even stronger to attain what he thinks is right. How we get from here to flash forward, Konoha destroyed, and incredibly vague information, I don't know. But
I saw something on Instagram the other day that was saying, like, what if we get to the time skip just to find out that, like, Boruto's the villain and Kawaki's the hero?
Yeah, because it's so vague in the beginning, and especially when we had the tease that Momomosuke could be taking over Boruto before this last development. That definitely gave me that idea too. I was just like, man, we really were given just the bare minimum of information on that flash forward. So Boruto could absolutely be the villain, and Kawaki is keeping Naruto and everyone else safe somewhere else. Like, he could be the good guy. I think Boruto would definitely, at this point, Boruto as a character would need to have some pretty dark turns for him to eventually be the bad guy at this point now. But I don't know, Kawaki's kind of in that same thing right now, where, excuse me, the jump between this and that is pretty huge. And so we kind of need some dark things to happen to Kawaki, I think, to get there. And I don't know.
Just going back to what you guys were saying, like, especially if you compare him to Sasuke, if he goes on that same journey, it's that Kawaki, he is really more attached to Konoha more than Sasuke was when he finally found out. Because after going through that horrible experience with Kara, he's now in a place where he views Naruto as his father, basically. Like, he's obsessed with him. He views Boruto as a brother. It's just it just seems like if he does become the antagonist, he would have, like you're saying, he'd have to go through something dark, like even more than Sasuke. Like, he's being set up as a more tragic character if he does go the Sasuke route, just because he has more to lose. Like, Sasuke, it made sense for him. It's like, dude, this village basically screwed over my whole clan, made my brother have to, like, sacrifice himself for me. Like, well, that's later, but he's like, I couldn't really blame him for turning his back on Konoha. Like, I can't blame him. But for Kawaki, like, he has more ties now, and it's seeing. I wouldn't say he's more compelling than Sasuke, like, obviously, like, but just seeing him, if he goes that dark route, I'm almost more with that fan theory you were saying about Todd that you saw on Instagram. Like, I'm almost seeing more Boruto going down that road than Kawaki, just because, Boruto just, made up with his dad. They were always at odds for so long. It's just, that's a new relationship. Like, Kawaki has more with him. Like, even though, like, he just came in as well, like, he's more obsessed with Naruto than Boruto is with Naruto.
Yeah.
It's It's just an interesting dynamic, and it's something that you don't see at first. But while we're talking about it, it's like, wow, this is actually pretty complex. This is a complex series. I'm actually kind of getting more excited about the series the more we talk about it.
And Steven, were you the Did you write the article about Sasuke's death?
No, that wasn't me. I think that might have been Evan. I know he likes writing about Sasuke a lot. I've noticed.
Okay. I haven't read, or I think I did read that article, but I wonder if like that could be like going with this theory that Boruto is going to be the bad guy, Kawaki's going to be the good guy. I wonder if Boruto is going to witness Sasuke's death, and that's going to put him on the path. I mean, it's all speculation, but
yeah, well, he's wearing it. Yeah, the whole thing about freaking out about getting his headband too.
yeah.
Oh, dude, I like that. Was that in the article that someone wrote?
I don't know. It's just from what you guys have been saying, and then thinking back to that article. This is something I've been thinking about right now while you guys were talking.
That is a great idea because I mean, like even though he's made amends with Naruto, like he has more of a relationship with Sasuke, and I like that.
Yeah, that could definitely be the dark turn for Boruto. Sasuke dying. But
hey, I'm getting psyched for Boruto now more than Aida. I'm glad we're having this discussion now. I'm getting psyched for the series.
Well, yeah, what you guys, I think it was something you just said, Steven, helping me realize this with Kawaki. But, I mean, Boruto grew up, and even it's what a lot of people complain about Boruto, and I'm one of them, Boruto not being the most likable character. Because he's just, especially at the beginning of the series, he was just kind of taking for granted, having parents and his place in the city, and being the Hokage's son and stuff like that. While Kawaki's the opposite, like he had nothing, and he's being put in the situation where he has the family, the friends, and all that stuff. So it's almost going to turn into like Boruto has to realize how good he's got it, while Kawaki is going to do everything he can to protect everything that he is getting, that he has found here in Konoha. So those two idealing thought processes of Kawaki understanding what makes Konoha so important, and
yeah, because he had nothing, and Boruto grew up with everything. I mean, man, you know what? I think I'm going to reread this series, starting like with a more open mind and focus on that. Because this is like, yeah, the more we talk about it, it's like this is actually building into something really big. Huh. Okay.
I think a lot of like the animosity against Boruto also comes from the anime.
Yes.
As well, not just the manga, because I feel like the anime it's been like majority of the anime has been like filler.
Yeah,
from what I understand.
Very uncharacter developing filler, much like how Naruto anime was back in the day. But the Boruto anime, and I'm sure I run into it with One Piece also. There's a lot of people who are like anime only watchers. They don't want to read manga, and if you're going with it, it's like if you started, oh man, I hear this Naruto series is really good, and then you started to get into it like right when the first series ended, so there's like 3 years of filler. That's pretty much what the Boruto series has been, for the most part. It's just all filler that is just telling adorable stories and making up like these missions that don't really have any major significance to the overall plot of the manga. And I think we discussed it in our previous episode. Is just imagine if the manga writers and the anime writers like sat down and actually collaborated. So filler episodes were actually other stories that fans would want to hear about that they don't have time to cover in the main story. How great would that be? Other than, oh man, we need to come up with something to animate for 6 months. I don't know. They go to some camp and there's people, and I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of it, so
Yeah, but, like there's no reason for them to do that because they have so many characters, like old generation and new generation, that could still be fleshed out. They could be using the anime as a tool for that. But
yeah, absolutely. Like we could see what happened with the second Hokage when he died. What was life in Konoha after Madara died? Like the the in between years of Naruto and Sasuke winning the war to him becoming Hokage. Like there's so many years of super interesting Naruto stuff that the fillers could be diving into, but they choose not to. So
And it's kind of interesting. I mean, going off that, um, it like the whole franchise or just like the whole industry seems to be upside down. Like, I mean, it's great. I love it, but it's like a mangaka is does everything. Like it's like the drawing, the story, the writing. It's like, and I get that it comes from that one brilliant mind, and that's great. But it's like there should be a team. Like I know, like a mangaka has like editors and stuff,
yeah,
but it's this one person, and it's like
Mhm.
it just it almost seems like the best story ideas comes from collaboration. Like you say one thing and then you get someone's opinion and then that person gives an opinion and it grows into something better. It's like
oh
it's
yeah,
always
like
baffled me. Like I didn't realize until a couple years ago that that's how it was done. I was like, I always thought it was a team, but it's
I
like
mean,
no, it's basically one person.
well, I kind of
sometimes it is a team.
yeah, I
Sometimes
think
it
it's
is
a
a
team.
team.
I think it's
Yeah,
at
it's
least
because
like
the,
go ahead, Todd.
it's not a big team. It's like 4 or 5 people, but it's usually like there's the main author, and then he has all his assistants.
Yeah, assistant. Yeah, but
Um,
like their assistants. Like I don't see them as like
yeah,
equals. You know?
yeah, they're not.
Yeah,
I
like
don't think they have too
co-authors.
much say in the story, but they help out with
Yeah.
the drawing. Like I think the
Oh yeah.
guy that was doing Boruto before Kishimoto took back over, I think he was one of his like earliest assistants, and he did all the scenes with the shadow clones.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
is
it's like one.
very
Go ahead.
similar to almost how we did a Dragon Ball Super podcast
Yeah.
a little bit ago, and that was just 3 or 4 of us. And by the end of it, we're coming up with all kinds of really fun, cool theories on where it could go next. I like to imagine that's how these teams write these mangas. Is it's just it's the main writer and his most trusted editors and assistants sitting in a room, and in this situation it's like Kishimoto saying like, okay, so I think this is what we should do, and then they say like, oh yeah, we like this, but what if this happened too? And then it would connect with this and that, and then they're like, oh, that is a great idea, and hopefully that's how it works. I would like to think it's closer to that than the creator sitting down and be like, this is how it's going to be, and they're like, oh, this doesn't make sense. He's like, I don't care. Like
It's
I,
probably like a whole spectrum. There's probably
oh
Is
mangakas
it?
yeah.
that are like that, and then there's also the
Oh,
ones that are very team oriented.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
that, especially with the guy who makes like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. He just has such a tight team that it's. I mean, sure, he comes up with a lot of stuff, but it's really just, especially these mangaka or these manga writers have been doing it for so long that they probably have a very tight team of people who
Hmm.
are coming up with ideas and
Well,
you know
that's good. I thought it was okay. That makes me feel better then. But
yeah, at least I hope so.
yeah.
um, But yeah, anything else about this chapter that jumped out to you guys before we go into what we hope this next one's going to be?
Yeah, I just want to say it's not nothing too big, but this scientist guy that's at the hideout,
Oh yeah.
I'm riding with him. I hope he is fine. I hope he gets out of this alive.
Yeah,
He
he's been
doesn't have
struggling
much to
for a
say, doesn't
while.
have much to do with anything, but every time I see him and see that he's still kicking, I get excited.
He really has been through a lot. Like
Yeah.
like he's just like, "Crap, well, I'm stuck with all these monsters."
Yeah, wasn't he
Yeah,
like
it's
Something
stuck
like
like
that.
there
every
because he
panel he's in, he just has like this awestruck look on his face.
yeah. Didn't he like get affected by Ida's charms like years ago and he's just been like stuck here because of that?
I think
Is
so.
that
I
what it
don't
is?
remember, but I think so.
Yeah,
I
so
just like
That guy deserves a happy ending for sure.
He's just, I know, like, yeah, the poor guy, like, ever since she got out of there, like, she's just like, he can't get out of there. He's just surrounded by all these monsters, basically. Yeah, it's like, poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm really
almost
hoping he survives.
yeah, maybe he is secretly maybe he's the one that'll save Amando. Uh I almost hope he'll become like the Yajirobe of the series, where he just happens to be at the right place at the right time, and he's going to carry Amando off while Damon is fighting Code's new powers. Damon makes some weird expressions in this in this chapter. Like after Code gets his limiters exploded off, Damon's like making a very shocked, like surprised, almost intimidated look for the very first time, at least to my knowledge. And he's just like,
Right.
"Whoa!" And
White.
yeah, well, you see, I'm going back, and Code's hair has been white this whole time.
I think he's talking about the karma, isn't he? Or I could be wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't remember.
But when he's saying white,
No, in mine he's saying "whoa" in the official translation, anyway.
he
Wait,
says
what?
whoa, and then wah, and then
Oh,
white.
okay. I see on the different page. Yes, white.
Oh, I'm on a different page than you. Yeah.
And then he's just well on the next page he's making this like really weird like I'm really hungry face or like I want to kiss your face Code. Like, he's just
Like,
making the weirdest little look. I don't know what he's gonna do next.
is it going to be like, it'll be like the next Boruto meme, you know, the one where he's like crying and has that weird look on his face that you
Yeah.
see everywhere? That'll be the next one.
But yeah, I guess I would love to see Damon jump in and fight Code for some reason. I don't see. I guess. I wonder, like, what could trigger it is maybe after sensing Code's new powers, she doesn't trust him, maybe. So maybe she'll figure out some way to get back to Konoha. But yeah, I almost see Konoha gearing up and Boruto and Kawaki hitting the front lines and them, maybe trying to bring the attack to Code. But now that Code's got his limiters off and he can still teleport pretty much anywhere he's got those claw marks, like, do you guys think he's going to be jumping right back to Konoha right away?
What do you want to say, Todd? I'm thinking about Aida right now.
I'm thinking. Let's see. I'm thinking. I want to say not quite yet, just because I feel like obviously I don't think they'll show this, but I feel like they're gonna have Kawaki remove all the claw marks around Konoha. I don't think they'll like put too much time into like showing that, but I think it's safe to assume that would happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, it could kind of go anywhere from this point. I mean, Bad Guy has achieved his goal, and we know that he still wants to sacrifice either Kawaki or Boruto to attend Tails. Excuse me,
Right.
to get the chakra through.
I know, like, if I was writing this, what I'm thinking is, like, I know we're talking about, like, Amato put, like, a self-destruct sequence in Code, and, like, that would be cool, but I feel like Eida is just gonna, like, tell him to stop it, Code, don't do it, and Code's gonna have to listen, just because of her power. But then I feel like they could get into a fight over that. Code's going to abduct Damon, because he can't really hurt Damon, so he's gonna abduct him. Eida is gonna go back to Konoha.
Mm.
Oh, that's just like something that's been running around in my head for what could possibly happen next.
Well, if Code takes Damon, she's gonna go. She won't go to Konoha. She's gonna be like, dude, get my brother back. She'll go nuts.
Yeah, again, I'm just curious to see more Damon in action because
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what he's capable of if somebody's not attacking him. I'm wondering if he's only effective if somebody is trying to hurt him.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And yeah, kind of the same thing with Eida. Like, she has already said she detests fighting, and it hasn't been really established if she can fight or would be a capable fighter. But Yeah, I mean, at this point, does Code really still need Ada and Damon?
All I know is that before he got this transformation, I was really happy about. And I didn't remember this until I started rereading back. I really appreciated it because this is how I wanted it to turn out. When Aida, she is thinking about going back, leaving Code. He was completely like depowered in that moment. Like he's like, dude, what do you think you're doing? You better not be leaving me,
Yeah,
And
he didn't
she's like,
consider.
no, I have every right to consider this. Like I'm the one in control. You aren't. Like I really appreciated that moment. That's all I. That's something that was really cool, and I hope that dynamic stays even with Code's little transformation. Like she needs
I see
that's
it
what makes her
growing.
partnership. Yeah, like that's just what makes her so compelling as well, is that she's in control no matter what. Like this is where it's gonna go. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, I almost see that. I think it was just one of those things where you have to do something in a story three times to properly establish it. We've established that Ida and Code don't necessarily get along, and if it wasn't for her powers, then I mean they'd have nothing to do with each other. I think. And I think that now that Code has awakened some sort of new form or new power, I almost wonder if he's going to be less affected by her,
Yeah.
and she's going to kind of lose,
Oh wait,
her say
that's
in this.
right. Yeah, because he has karma now, so that means he's not affected by her as much.
Well, yeah, we don't really know it because I mean it's still a fake karma, isn't it, or a rejected one?
He's still human because the Otsutsuki has to actually like manifest in him.
So
Uh,
but is he like like there's a part of him that
I don't I don't I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think
I
he's
just
still human right now.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Which
like he's still human, but
that
like
could
is it
come
like
in like what I was talking about earlier. Ishiki coming back that could play a part, but
yeah,
guess we'll see.
yeah, I'm just wondering, like, just because that's the being an Oshiki or whatever, that is like the only way to overcome Aida's powers. So it would be an interesting dynamic flip a little bit, and it would make it more believable if that's the case. But then again, we don't know if it's a complete form or not. But it's still something interesting to think about, at least.
yeah, I think it'll give even more towards your desire to. You're saying that her whole character is going to rest on how she ultimately reacts to Kawaki,
Mm.
you know, saying no or yes. I'm very
Mhm.
interested in the dynamic flip if Code is no longer,
Yeah.
to her abilities. Is she still going to be cocky and stand her ground, or is she going to suddenly be like, "Oh no, we need to get out of here! Protect me, Damon!" I
That would suck.
That
Oh,
would
that would be
suck.
bad. That would be horrible.
Well, yeah. So I mean, that seems pretty likely. We definitely think that the code situation's about to get bad for all parties involved there. Um, but I mean, it would also be kind of anticlimactic if code just slaughters everybody in that room, and then it just turns into just code versus Konoha.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the
You
I'll go ahead, Todd.
go ahead. Okay, I'm just saying, like right now, I like even though Code has now got his powers back, he still doesn't have that like significant villain feel to me yet. Even though he just got his powers back, he doesn't feel like uh capable of being the big bad.
Yeah, and it goes back to what Jason was saying. I know you were saying he was kind of underwhelming, especially in relation to other big bads that we've been having. I mean, that's exactly why. Like, I don't really, I don't really care what happens to Code. Like, I just basically see him as a character who's being manipulated by Aida. Like, that's their relationship to me. And if that flips or changes in any way, then I'll probably lose interest in their dynamic. Just because I'm not invested in Code yet. I'm just invested in him and how his relationship is with Aida. Like that's basically how I view him, at least.
You see, I'd counter that and say I think his whole character arc is because he's been manipulated by Ishin, and that's kind of why I kind of am having the
That's
theory that it could be a very similar story beat or situation that Madara had, where he gains all this ultimate power, and unbeknownst to him, he was actually gaining all this power so then the bigger bad could arrive.
Oh yeah, so he's just being used by everyone.
Yeah, yeah, because they seem to love to do that in this series, and that's still one thing that kind of bugs me about the original series was, oh yeah, well, you think this guy's the bad guy? It's actually Orochimaru. Oh, you think Orochimaru was the bad guy? It's actually Pain. Oh, you think Pain was the bad guy? He was actually, and so on and so on and so on. It just all turned into them all getting portrayed by somebody who convinced them otherwise, and and then as soon as you have the coolest big bad that the entire series seemed to be leading up to, he gets punched in the back, through the back, and then a bunny god lady shows up. Not I still think they should have ended it with Madara. Madara was such a good, compelling villain, and I think we've had this discussion in previous podcasts. So.
He didn't know how to beat Madara, hence Kaguya.
Yeah. Well, the only way Madara has ever been defeated was being attacked in the back, and so I did like that little bit of irony there. But
oh yeah, I never thought about it like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's his biggest weakness. I think they've said that in the games, even or something. I don't remember where they officially said that, but I still think that the series has a bigger bad along the way. I mean, besides that's what's so weird about the flash forward was they're almost making it seem like they didn't say that was the final battle, but I still think that this series could pull a Dragon Ball Z, where they took everything that we knew about this world and stuff, and then they introduce alien bad guys, and we eventually need to go to the alien homeworld and fight the super alien overlord. But we have so many conflicts brewing on this planet, but this I kind of still think that the code thing could lead into whatever the Akatsuki big bad is going to be, because they've laid the groundwork for that to happen, and I think it'd be a huge missed opportunity if we just ignore and say like no more aliens showed up, because Momomoski was the only one that they sent, and that was the only one that they cared about. It'd be kind of weird.
Did they ever talk about, like, I know they said the Otsutsuki are from another world, but did they ever delve into their planet or anything?
No,
that's still in the dark.
That's still in the dark, and that's kind of what I'm saying is like you lay the groundwork for something like that being there, but you never talk about it or get into it. Like they got to get to it eventually. And I'm almost wondering.
I hope it doesn't devolve into an alien invasion type thing, like ninjas versus aliens. I hope it doesn't devolve into
That'd be horrible.
Yeah, it just turns into big space battles and stuff. Yeah, that seems really out there, but I could see them trying to either go to their home world, or because there's just so much about the Akatsuki we still don't know, and I'm very curious about it. I don't think we're anywhere close to it, but I almost wonder if Code's mission is going to end up tying into something like that. At least that's kind of what I'd hope to see. But any more thoughts on Boruto Chapter 70 or what's happening next in 71 before we move into recommendations and plugs?
Well, Jason, what did you think about the little interaction between Delta and Aida? You were talking about Delta a little bit last time.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Delta, and this chapter didn't really give me anything to love about her. I mean, I thought it was pretty adorable. Ida being like, "You did a good job, Delta. I love you," and Ida just being like, "Oh my God, please come back. I love you." Like, I love the idea that instead of like people becoming, obsessed and just like, can we please go on a date? I just love you so much. If they instead just become like the most hardcore groupie you could imagine. So it's almost like Ida is some big rock star, and um oh my God, what's her name? I can't think of it right now.
Delta.
Delta. Thank you. My brain just farted. It smells. Delta is just suddenly like that groupie that snuck backstage. She's like, "Oh my God, Ida, I love you so much. Just give me your sock. I'll treasure it." Like, I kind of love that idea, and I am anxious for for us to go back to Delta now that Ida's gone, and she's gonna have to like brush off everything, her turning into a puddle, essentially. Like, oh, that was weird, right, guys?
Yeah, I am interested in seeing how that will. Yeah, like, will it be? Will it stay with her a little bit? That's what might be interesting too. Like, is there
A
some
Delta back in the box.
Yeah,
Never take her out again.
get back in the box, Delta. Well, I don't know. That's kind of we're going back to that old guy that is stuck in the horrible situation with Code and Ida in there. I think it's been established that her powers can work on somebody in the long term, if I'm remembering things correctly. I could be totally wrong here, but I thought that he was still hanging around the station because her powers were still having an effect on him even while she was in cryo. So if that's the case, then Delta is no longer a viable option to really use. Yeah, or her own person, which would be a huge missed opportunity because, I mean, there's the whole like preserving her or fixing her, whatever they did to her. Like, did they really just have that just so it could create that little bit of extra tension in this one scene over these past couple chapters? That would be really dumb. So I'm really hoping that isn't all that they have her there for. So I'm hoping that she plays a part in their next, in their next plan, whatever it's going to be. But I'm almost wondering if, they're not going to have time to come up with a plan. I'm wondering if Code is just like, okay, well, I'm ridiculously powerful now, so I can just go do whatever I want. But as like, that doesn't sound super compelling, so I think that adds more to the idea or your theory, Steven, I think it was, that he hasn't unlocked all of his powers yet.
Yeah.
I think that was Todd.
Todd, yes. Yeah, it was a great theory, Todd, and I think that could definitely be how Amando gets out of this this cliffhanger ending. Well, yeah.
I don't. He's definitely not dead. If he's going to die, they would have killed him.
Yeah.
At the end of the chapter, instead of making it seem like he was going to die.
Yeah, I think so too.
Plus, he's so manipulative and great. Like, killing him off would be a real disservice, just because we still don't really know, like, how deep or like why he's so interested in Kawaki's, him having karma. Like, it's just there's so many mysteries about him that it would be a complete disservice just getting rid of him. So.
Yeah, the one bit in this chapter that did make me think that Amando is about to die was the whole normal. It's a very usual thing that they do in series where it's like in Game of Thrones, first episode, just like, the next time we see each other, we're going to talk about this very important thing about yourself. Oh, okay, cool. I can't wait until we have that conversation years from now. And they don't end up having that conversation because of story plot. But so I'm really hoping that Kawaki's just like, I need to go talk to Amando. I need to ask him something. Oh, he's gone. Oh, what? So, I mean, if Amando dies, then Kawaki's going to have these doubts and questions about this new karma that, I mean, was it revealed in this chapter too? We didn't even cover this, that Amando implanted Kawaki against his consent. Like, he didn't know.
Yeah, during the arm operation thing.
Yeah, which is kind of wild because I thought when Kawaki used his ability in the code fight, it was just him awakening like some lingering power. I didn't realize that, or that he and Amando had had to talk about it. But yeah, it definitely also adds to the idea that if Amando died, then we're never going to find out what his overarching plot was and why he's doing all these things. And he's kind of definitely, this series is Orochimaru, so they could do countless story situations later on in the series of just like, uh-oh, Amando was working on some dangerous new experiment again, now we need to go deal with that. Like, it's so much
it's
potential for
interesting.
filler.
I don't know how much time we have left, but it's interesting that you bring up Amato being like the series of Orochimaru, because I kind of look at him as like them being able to redo Madara, in the sense that like everything in Naruto was put into place because of Madara's actions, and now it's like with Amato we're seeing that same thing happen, but in real time, rather than it getting explained to us once everything came to fruition.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it would be interesting if Amato, has big plans, but I don't see him having plans as big or to the scope that Madara had and
Yeah.
implemented. Um, they're definitely both very manipulative characters, but yeah, I don't know if I see Amando, because I mean Madara wanted to gain untold power so he could control the entire planet in a fake genjutsu. Um, we don't know what Amando's overall goal is. I almost
That's
wonder.
very true.
I almost wonder if it's if it's going back to the idea that Eida is his daughter. It might be just to like restore her memories and live happily ever after with his kids again, which is much different than hypnotizing the entire planet and getting rid of war. So yeah, I'm very curious. I think it would be a shame if Amato died here and there, but I'm not sure if him and Kawaki are ever going to be able to have that conversation again. Because that might be another thing that helps Kawaki get to a darker place. But we also like the idea that Boruto is going to be the villain and Kawaki's actually going to be the good guy at the end. So yeah, I don't know. Story could go to a lot of places from here.
Yeah, it's starting to get good.
Yeah. I think the next chapter will definitely help us determine in which direction. I mean, obviously, the next chapter is going to give us more information, but this arc is at an interesting pivot point right now, where it could go in so many different ways, and I'm excited to talk about it with you guys when it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise.
Well, yeah, this has been an episode of Mega Manga Monday, Boruto Chapter 70, and I am Jason Hahn. I'm a writer for ScreenRant.com. I write for video game news, and check out Screen Rant for video game news, movie news, and interesting comic news and articles based on Marvel, DC, mangas, all kinds of stuff. I also do a YouTube channel called Honzy and Friends, where I do Let's Plays and stream, usually play games with friends, try to make each other laugh and just hang out. So check that out if that's your kind of thing. And also check out other Mega Manga Monday episodes if you're into series like Boruto, obviously, My Hero Academia, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, all kinds of fun stuff. Definitely check that out as well. Todd, anything you want to recommend or pitch, man?
Yeah,
Or plug?
go ahead and follow everything that Jason just plugged. But you can find me on Twitter at Todd the Writer, all one word, 21. And I usually post every time I have an article published, I'll post about it on my Twitter.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we are also on Twitter. Follow the Mega Manga Mondays podcast Twitter at M Manga Mondays. And we like to update and give information about new chapters coming out and stuff like that. So check that out. Steven, how about you, bud?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say what I said in our last talk for Dragon Ball Super. I did check out Honzy and Friends for a live session there, and I usually don't do that, but I actually had a really fun time. Did chortle a few times myself, So yeah, I highly recommend, especially if you are an avid gamer. It is definitely a show for you. So there
Yeah,
you
thanks,
go.
man. Yeah, I recently
Yeah.
started streaming Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and that game's a lot of fun.
We gotta play Storm sometime here soon.
Yes, please. I don't know, man. I'm pretty good. So,
I haven't played in years, so
well, yeah, get warmed up, man. I'd be happy to take you on in some Storm. That's probably my favorite fighting game ever made. So, but yeah, that'll probably wrap up this episode of Mega Manga Mondays. Check us out on Spotify, follow us on Twitter, all those things we just said. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
see you guys.
Peace.